Yeah. Everything's been working fine with the internet until a couple of seconds ago. Here we go.
Hey, I'm Michael Broderick, and you are watching the Break It Down show.
Yes, you are. I'm in Palm Springs, man, hanging out. I've got a mimosa.
Nice.
And taking it easy, having a quick, a little getaway. Every now and then, you know how it is down here in Southern California. You can be in so many different environments. Over the mountain, the other side is a totally different kind of desert. I could go to Julian and get some apple pie and get fall colors. And, it's wonderful to be out here. And so we were getting a little bit of cabin fever from being cooped up from COVID.
Yeah,
and my lady and I decided to bust out of town.
There you go, man. It's good for you. We drove up to the snow a couple of weeks ago, but it turned out there's some kind of accident or something, and all the roads started getting backed up. We ended up turning around, but we stopped on the side of the road just so we could get out in the snow for a second for a couple of minutes.
Apparently, I learned this the other day. We are in California are people who say drive to the snow or up to the snow. Other people don't say that, but like it's right there. You have to drive up to it. Other places say I'm going to, and they say something else. It never occurred to me that was a thing.
I'm going to Vermont.
Right, exactly.
Jersey.
If you were in Jersey, what would you say? You would just
we're going skiing. We're going to Vermont.
Mm-hmm. But out here we say up to the snow. It's a funny thing.
Yep.
How have you been?
Good, man. I can't complain, bro. Starting to get back to work, which is nice. And family's good. Family's healthy. Not to be a downer. We had a little bit of a little crisis recently. We had to put our longtime companion, send her off over the Rainbow Bridge. Beautiful Maxine, our Great Dane. But other than that, man, really can't complain. I had COVID back in the end of July, beginning of August, and it was rough. It was definitely tough. It's no joke. But everyone else has been healthy, and can't complain.
I watched a short that you did called Fathers and Sons. It's I guess based off of the Jack Carr novels. For those that don't know, Jack Carr is a Navy SEAL turned author and
best-selling author, New York Times bestseller.
Is that even enough to describe how successful he's been? He's been just incredibly, incredibly successful. So I'll put a link to that here. You can watch it in a lot of places, but this will be the Vimeo link where you guys can watch this thing. But talk about that process. I mean, you get asked to do something like this. You do big procedurals and all these other things. And here's this little 11-minute video. From the outside, it might seem like, why would he do something like that? But talk about that project and what it means commitment-wise. I mean, shorts are not a thing that people talk about very much.
Well, I'm proud to say that this was my baby.
Okay.
This was my concept. And with the help of some very talented friends, I was able to take it all the way to completion. I'm a first-time filmmaker. So it was made for a very specific purpose. I wanted to get on the radar of the folks at Indivisible, which is the company that's producing the Amazon series based on the Jack Carr's novel, The Terminal List. And so I grabbed a bunch of my veteran pals because, despite the fact that there are a ton of talented veterans in the industry, still too often I think the players just think of us as special ability people that come in, can handle a weapon or tactics and stuff and make their show look good. But many of us are real working artists. And when it was announced that Chris Pratt's company Indivisible was going to be doing the Terminal List for Amazon with Chris in the lead role and Antoine Fuqua directing, they also said that they wanted to incorporate as many veterans as they could in front of and behind the camera. And I've long been a Chris Pratt fan. I just love his work, and he just seems like he genuinely supports veterans and the military and stuff. So I always admired that about him. And to me, that didn't come off as any kind of pandering. I was like, this guy's legit. He wants to see what veterans can do. So let's show him what some veterans can get together and do. So I came up with the idea for Fathers and Sons, kind of wrote a very brief little short scene. I'm not much of a writer though. And I sent it to a buddy of mine who's a director, Ryan Curtis. He's an Army veteran, and we know each other through VME. And he was like, "Yeah, good idea, but they really need to punch up this scene." So I sent it to my buddy Vernon Mortensen, who's a screenwriter, and he's a former Navy SWIC. So he knows the world, the SEAL special operations world, and so he came up with that fantastic scene that you see in the short film. And I went to my buddy Tim Abel, former Army Ranger. He plays Dell in the piece, and it kind of, I thought of him as I wrote the original kind of original scene that Vernon took and made something spectacular out of. I thought of Tim immediately because we've kind of had this mentorship relationship over the years. When I first came out to Los Angeles I guess it was 2005 when I met Tim for the first time. He came into my acting class as a guest, and because he's a working actor, and it was our teacher had like a Q&A. We could ask Tim questions about what it's like to be a working actor and this, that, and the other thing. And that's when we first met, and we got to do a scene together that night. And it's every time you work with an actor, it doesn't matter who it is, you're trading impulses, you're locking eyeballs, and you share something, right? Yeah. So we've had that first connection, and then we met shortly after, because just hanging around the veteran community, we met each other again, and we became friends, and I could always go to Tim when I needed advice about the acting world. And so when I thought of the character of Dell, I said, man, Tim's perfect for this. And he sure was, man. He just crushed it. If you haven't seen the film, I encourage you to watch it. Tim's just so good. And so, yeah, man, it was made solely for that purpose, to get on the radar of the folks at Indivisible. And we were very happy with Jack's reaction to it. Jack Carr, the author whose book inspired the short film. He just has been, I can't even describe how, his enthusiasm about it, and he's posted it on Instagram and all these other things. And we've gotten a lot of great feedback, and I'm very grateful to Jack, man. He's a solid dude.
Yeah, he is. He's been on the show, and just a fantastic guy. And really what you see is what you get. That's kind of a common denominator for a lot of us, where folks talk about trying to be authentic. It's just, we just come with an authenticity because of who we've been, where we've been, what we've done, that kind of thing. And a guy like Jack, Dell, when you watch Dell in those scenes, either to my eyes, because I don't know his background, either he is legit and that's the kind of guy he is. He just brought an authenticity to the screen. I didn't for one second think, oh, that guy is an actor. I thought, I wonder what this guy's background is. Instantly, just his presence, because it's not acting. It's just what he is. And I'm not saying he wasn't acting, but I'm saying it's that presence. You knew that this guy had done a lot of things, in combat. He just brought it in an excellent way.
He's he's a bat boy. He's a Ranger Battalion, and a great actor. Tim played. I don't know if you remember the show. It was Jerry Bruckheimer, Soldier of Fortune Inc. back in the day, and Tim played Benny Riddle, who was the Marine sniper. He was a series regular on the show, and so it was funny because Jack was he was so psyched when he found out Tim was in it, because he loved Soldier of Fortune back in the day. So that was very exciting for him, and Tim's just great, man. And he really, I'm telling you, he just nails it in this. And working with him on this was just a dream. He's great.
Are either of you pool players?
No. Back when I would, back during the drinking days, I used to I used to shoot pool, whatever, in the bars or whatever. As a matter of fact, the first night my wife and I hung out, all after a show I played or whatever back in New York, we went to the Bleecker Bar and just spent all night shooting pool together. But no, I am not a pool player. And, there were lots of takes.
That's going to be the follow-up. Yeah.
Actually, we just started knocking the balls around, and they just edited out the ones that didn't go in, So it was a lot of fun. And I'll tell you what, Ryan Curtis just crushed it. I knew as soon as he started talking to me about his vision for the piece, Ryan, the director, I knew I chose the right guy. He was immediately like, okay, Antoine Fuqua was directing the series, so let me go back and watch Training Day. Let me go back and watch, these other, and he immediately had the right mindset. And he put together the crew, the cinematographer, the gaffer, the sound guy, and so he had his team,
Yeah.
And everybody worked so well together. We did this on a shoestring budget. A lot of people donated their talents and time. And we got in and out of there.
You don't have to tell me, but can I ask how much did you guys have to pull this off with?
$1,000.
You don't have to say. How much?
$1,000.
Wow.
Which is nothing.
Incredible. Yeah.
It's nothing.
There are lunches in Hollywood that are over $1,000.
Well, again, some very talented people donated their time. And their skill.
Why? I mean, that they could easily get paid for this.
Yeah, well, I spent a little personal capital on that.
Okay.
And I mean, look, you build relationships with people, Tyne Steckline, who's plays Rhonda in the piece. We're in acting class together, and we love working together. So she did me the favor of, I said, hey, would you come and play Rhonda in this piece, And she's like, absolutely. And she's lovely, and she's so talented. And so, yeah, I was so happy that she graced us with her time and talent. So
I had to take a selfie while we were talking, but that's awesome. Because this is the social media world, I mean, you have to capture these moments. I love it that you do this. And I want to press pause on Fathers and Sons and talk real quick about VME and what that does. Because this is the overall movement, is to grab these veteran creators behind or in front of the camera and mentor and put them to work and support one another. So let's talk a little bit about VME and what it does.
Sure. Well, VME has been around, more than 10 years now, I think. I was fortunate to be one of the about a dozen folks who was sitting around a table at some guy's house when the two founders said, hey, okay, you people are all veterans, you all work in the industry. We're going to create this group. What do you guys think? And we all kind of, shot the breeze and traded ideas about what it could be, what it should be, whatever. So I was honored to be there and asked for my opinion. And over the next couple of years, we stood up an organization. I think the first meeting we had like 80 people there, and Dale Dye was our speaker. We had like a keynote speaker, and then we just started growing. Now they've got, I don't know what the last big mark that I remember was 3,000 members, and that's a few years ago. So it's got to be more than that now. And now we're national. We have chapters in New York and DC and Atlanta, I think, but the main one's here in Los Angeles. And the mission was basically, we're not now look, I served on the board of directors a few years ago, but I'm not really involved in leadership anymore. I kind of took a step back, and I'm just a member,
Yeah.
But so I'm not speaking in an official capacity. Okay. But we were never like a VSO or anything like that, although we are a 501c3 charity, because it's about educating veterans that want to get into the entertainment industry. See, a lot of veterans, because of their time in service, they've lost those years that they could have that they otherwise might have spent getting in and making connections and building their network and things like that. I shouldn't say lost. They donated those years to the service of the country. So they're automatically behind. And VME likes to try to help close that gap a little bit. with mentoring relationships, with classes. They hold lots of classes. Industry professionals come in and speak or teach. A lot of really fantastic people have donated their time. And so it's about supporting each other. And sure, it's about networking as well, but it's really about education. And sometimes, networks or companies will come straight to VME and say, hey, we have this position we're looking to fill, whether it's a PA or a production assistant or a personal assistant, or look, if you have union guys, we have a couple of roles that really would be great for veterans or whatever it is. And so they really just help facilitate that. And it's been great, man. I mean, I had already kind of started my career by the time VME came around, but I've benefited from access to certain auditions I might not have gotten otherwise. And certainly due to the work of some of the veterans in VME, the networks and the casting directors have become more aware of what we have to offer. But and it's not just actors, man. I mean, there's writers, there's grips, there's sound people. We have a guy who's won multiple Emmys for his sound work. We have a lot of award-winning people in the group. And so if you're not aware of VME and you're a veteran and you're considering the entertainment industry, I encourage you to look them up, Veterans in Media and Entertainment, and sign up, get involved. And if you're somebody in the industry that says, hey, you know what, we could use somebody with that skill set, look them up as well.
Yeah, it's such a neat thing. And then Hollywood is full of groups like this, where they take care of each other. They provide this. I don't want to downplay the networking part, because a lot of what happens in Hollywood, and here goes the guy who's not an actor talking about what happens in Hollywood, but I talked to a lot of you guys, and you hate to hear, oh, I should have thought of you for this project. Like there's the desire and the capacity and the connection aren't always in alignment. And so here you have this resource where, whatever, maybe it's Latino actors, maybe it's Black actors, maybe it's this, and there are subcommittees and subgroups. It's just another resource. When you have this, you want to be legit. I mean, there's no director that's like, I don't care about being legitimate with my veteran presence on my show, whatever. Like, how many times do we see the uniform with the sergeant stripes upside down or whatever? Like nobody chooses that. So you want this resource for whatever reason, or you just want to be of service, like Chris. There's no doubt that Chris has a passion to be of service to those that have served, and it's neat to be able to have these groups, regardless of the makeup of the group. And veterans, certainly, you want to talk about diversity. We're a minority of minorities. Yeah. And it's really powerful. By the way, if you guys are watching, it's always helpful when you're on YouTube to hit subscribe, but also the notification bell so you know when something's coming out. And then also feel free to engage. I mean, if you're watching on the live side, we would love to answer questions or involve you. And there's Candace. I'm going to have lunch with her in Palm Springs here in a few minutes. So that's it's always fun to see her when she pops in. I wanted to ask you, going back to fathers and sons again, I think that there's a market for shorts, much more so than ever before. I mean, look, you got Chris and he's playing the lead role and everything, but there's all these side things that happen in someone's life that aren't really accountable for in a big show like that. Like, so take, for example, look, you were in the Marines. You must have a Marine who's going to be in town from your old unit pop in all the time. And these little visits happen. These micro stories happen. Sure. And it's such a powerful part of the storytelling. And a place like YouTube or Vimeo, it's a perfect, medium for that, to like create these little side things that aren't on the main thread, but create real opportunity for someone to create. I would definitely encourage anybody to write stories in that vein, because people create content off of the back of your content, whether you're on Law and Order or whatever show it is, there's podcasts and fan fiction. Here's a way to do it, is to take these worlds and expand them.
Now, look, I will say this, it's tricky, and we're getting into waters that I don't fully understand as far as the legality, IP and all that other stuff. Yeah. And originally Fathers and Sons was not meant to be public. Like
Right.
I was not going to put it out there. I was simply going to get it to the folks at Indivisible. But when I sent it to Jack and he loved it and he posted on Instagram, like, well, here we go. Now it's out there. I don't want to give you the wrong idea. He didn't like do it against my wishes or anything like that. I think, he was like, hey, I'd love to post this. I was like, hell yeah, put it out there.
Yeah. Right.
But at the same time, then I figured, well, the Amazon, whoever's producing this series, they're gonna have a tough time coming after me if the author put it out there,
Yeah.
So then after the great reaction I got from Jack's followers on social media and stuff, we said, all right, well, let's see if we couldn't enter it in some film festivals, And so I said, all right, let's dress it up then, because the original version, it had some music that we didn't necessarily clear with anybody because it wasn't going public, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And the sound was a little iffy, whatever. So I said, all right, let's dress it up. Let's get let's get some music. We got the rights to use and this, that, and the other thing. And this is where some extra, this is part of that $1,000 that went out there, so we hired a mixer, a professional mixer, does shows for Netflix and stuff like that. And he did a phenomenal job. His name's Hall Cantrell, and he made it sound just excellent. And we got some excellent songs to kind of play through it. And now it's a short film. And we started, I entered it in a few little film festivals, and we were an official selection at Venice Film Shorts, Venice, California. And I entered one back in Jersey. I'm from Jersey originally. And we won Best Dramatic Short in the New Jersey Film Fest. And those are the first two I entered. So it's like already we're getting somewhere. And so, I entered in the GI Film Festival, which is great. I always wanted to have something I could enter into the GI Film Festival, but they haven't made their selections yet. So we're waiting on that. And a few others that we're waiting to hear from. So it's very exciting. I said to someone recently, I feel like, I feel like a new father, it's like being a brand new father again. It's my first film. So, I mean, as a producer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something I took from concept to completion. So it's a good feeling.
It is good. And also, by the way, congratulations. That's not an easy thing to do. Again, you did this thing on a shoestring budget, and the town kills projects much more than they make them come through. So it takes some real desire, some ganas, if we're gonna go Jaime Escalante, and push it through. Do you want to do more of this kind of thing now, or is this just
yeah? I'm already talking to the writer Vernon Mortensen about doing some more projects, and also we've teamed up with another fella who's a producer and he's also an actor. He's been kicking around Hollywood for several years, like I have. And we're like, you know what? Let's start building a team. Let's just start cranking some stuff out. Now, obviously, you can't. There's only so many favors you can ask of people, so it's going to start costing some money.
Yeah.
So, we're looking into how we want to fundraise if we want to do that. I think we've got a pretty good proof of concept for with Fathers and Sons. I mean, I couldn't be happier with how it came out. I mean, not only story wise and everyone's performance, but the way it looks, the way it sounds. I mean, if I can say so myself, it's a damn good little short film.
Let me say it for you. It's a damn good short film. I watched it a couple of times, and I think look, obviously you know what you're doing acting wise, but the lighting is great. It feels like you're in a bar. It doesn't look like you're on a sound stage or anything. As far as I know, we were in a bar.
Okay. Yeah, we were actually.
Well, it worked. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that goes to the brilliance of Ryan, Ryan Curtis, the director, and Rafe Wolfgang is the cinematographer. Rafe, which is, they had 11 minutes is a long time to spend around a pool table, for today's society. That's very quick edits and crazy stuff. It's almost more like a play, but that's kind of what I was going for. I wanted you to feel like you were inside this conversation. You know what I mean? I wanted you to feel like you were fly on the wall for this. And Ryan and Rafe just made that work, man. They kept it looking interesting, and the camera movement and everything, you don't realize that it's 11 minutes. You know what I mean? At least I didn't feel like you did.
No, it's fast. It's fast for sure.
And go ahead.
I want to say this too. It's important because these really, I mean, maybe not this subject matter in general, but these are what these conversations are like. You know, there's a lot of unspoken communication between brothers and sisters who have done something hard in the military, and we do want to get together. You know, like, oh my God, so and so's coming to town. Yes, I'll go grab a beer with you and play some, whatever it is. This is really genuine. It's a genuineness to what you guys captured, like how you wrote it and put it together. It just
that's Vernon Mortensen.
Then good job, Vernon. Yeah. We should have some of these guys on the show too. By the way, I'd love to.
Dude, I can make that happen.
Boys. Yeah. It's just fantastic, man. I love that you're doing this. I mean, look, acting, and I don't want to undermine your acting stuff because it's hard to be more legit than you are. You're always doing something. Even like this session that we're doing now, it's like, hey, you know, could have an audition or something. I might have to work, and it's like, yeah, because you're an actual no shit actor. Do you ever look at yourself and go, holy shit, I'm an actor in Hollywood. I live in a big fancy place. Not fancy. Your place is very nice though, right? And I don't want to make people think it's like a mansion. I think you have a wonderful home in a beautiful place. Yeah. But yeah, do you ever just pinch yourself?
Yes, all the time, man. And it's actually a little crazy. I don't know. I don't think we talked about this last time I was on, but you know when it really, really hit me, man? It was when I was on True Detective, and it was the first. It wasn't the first thing I shot, but it was the first scene that you know, where I had some back and forth with Mahershala Ali, you know, 2-time Academy Award winner, right? And Stephen Dorff, and we're in the scene. We're in the bullpen, and we're talking about the case and the evidence and this, that, and the other thing. So it was my first really kind of working day, you know, and so we'd gone through it a couple times, and we're waiting for them to reset the cameras, and I'm sitting there, and I had a flashback. I'm looking at Mahershala Ali, and I had a flashback to when I was sitting across from Dana, my wife, back in New York in 2003, I guess it was. And I had to sit her down. I was dreading this because I had to sit her down at the table, kitchen table, and I'm sitting across from her. I say, look, I want you to consider quitting your job, and I want to go out to California. We just bought this apartment on Bleecker Street in West 10th, right? And so we weren't even really, I don't think we were even fully unpacked.
Oh my God.
And I said, I want, you know, I gotta go to California, and I gotta go try to be an actor, because I wanted to get into the Pacific on HBO. And I said, I got to do this. Life's too freaking short. You know, it wasn't too long after 9/11. I was like, I got to do what I want to do, you know? And I was so afraid of what she'd say, you know, like, no, you know, what are you, crazy? We can't do this, blah, blah, blah. My son was only like 18 months old at the time, if that. And so as I was sitting there across, all I could think was, holy crap. I thought my life was going to end because I had to try and, you know, have this conversation with my wife. And now I'm sitting across from a 2-time Academy Award winner, and I'm waiting for Nick Pizzolatto to say action.
Right.
And and the weight of that just kind of, I was like, I did it.
You did it.
You know, I said, I'm here, you know? And, man, I'm starting to get like a little emotional. It was
good.
It was huge. And I think about that all the time. I'm so grateful to Dana forever. Really.
Now that you're more adult than you were back then, not that you weren't adult then, but you know, you're just more seasoned and everything. Would you slap yourself for 1 second and doubting how down Dana would be? Because the lady that I met, by the way, and I'll put her episode up here too. The lady I met, she's ready for all that stuff. She's ready to go get it and do it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's one of the reasons I married her, but still, you know, you got to think we were only married a couple of years at that point. And, you know, we had a new baby, and you know, you never know. You never, and look, we were doing pretty well in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I had been doing voiceover work already, and she had an excellent job, and yeah, man. So we just bought a great apartment on Bleecker and West 10th in Greenwich Village. I mean, we were doing all right.
You were doing it, yeah, yeah.
And so it's difficult to. I mean, when you don't have anything to lose, man, it's easy. It's easy to take risks. But when you've set up a nice little life for yourself, and you're like, you know what? Let's throw all this away and let's go try something completely different.
And it's not like something simple with an easy path. It's you picked something that, you know, I'm going to go sit across from Nick Pizzolatto as he tells me when go, and I'm looking at a who's going to be a 2-time Academy Award winner. You know, it's pretty. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's
good for you.
It was like I said, like it really struck me in those minutes in between takes, you know. I was like, holy yes, you know, like, here I am.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool, man. And I still think about it every day. You know, I'm fortunate now we have a place in Los Angeles where when I look out my kitchen window and I'm drinking coffee by the sink, I can see across town. I see the Hollywood sign every morning. You know,
it's incredible. Your place is incredible.
Oh, thanks, man. But I don't know, man. Like, what was it? Jack Carr says, "Never tell me the odds." Right? You say it's hard to do. Don't tell me the odds. You know, say I won't. Like I think I told you before that if there's one thing the Marine Corps taught me is that if I set my will to something, I can do it. So, yeah. Thanks, Marine Corps.
Yeah, thanks, Marine Corps. Hey, I want to open the scope a little bit here. Sitting across from Nick Pizzolatto, so Tony Toast has become a bit of a friend of the show. I'm not going to say like, you know, we're well acquainted. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Nick was sort of his pathway in because he and Nick were students together and poets and all these kind of things. And Nick wrote something and it was so good. He basically walks into Hollywood in a way that nobody ever has. And then they're like, Jesus, if you're this good, who else do you know? And he's like, I know Tony Toast. And so next thing you know, Tony walks in and he basically takes over Longmire as a writer and becomes a producer. I mean, it's just insane how like these two guys and how they get there. So Nick is probably pinching himself while you're pinching yourself.
Right.
And then Mahershala, I mean, what a rise he had too. And
great, man. So great.
It's incredible. Yeah.
He really is great. But everybody that worked on that I worked with was just phenomenal. Oh, and Tony, I mean, Longmire's on my, you know, target list. Certainly was. Anyway, yeah, man, it was a good time. It was a good time.
And then I want to take a minute and spend it. So first off, Michael's been on the show before, and you can check that out here. Here's the link to that. But also, your wife was on because, you know, I love the British Baking Show, and I love all of the versions of the Great Baking Show. And your wife, Diana, was on and was a finalist in one of the seasons on the American version. And so we had her on. The first question I have is, how in the world, I've had her pommiers, how in the world do you stay skinny with that lady baking all the time? I mean, how?
I'm actually on I'm doing the keto thing right now because I looked at I don't want to say anything, but I looked at myself in Fathers and Sons. And I was looking at my belly a little bit. I'm like, couldn't we edit that a little, crop that a little higher? And I was like, I got to get in shape, you know, because dude, it's rough around my birthday and Christmas and all that. And she just bakes, and she's not just baking, but she's a wonderful cook. And it's easy. It's easy to kind of, have a little, you know, spaghetti carbonara today, followed by a little cheesecake, a little more, you know, well, there's still cheesecake in the fridge. Don't want it to go to waste. So I've been very, very good since January, and it's coming off. So I'm getting getting back into shape.
I've been a little bit lackadaisical too. I got to get back in the pool, and I got to get in front of some more proteins and less carbs. It's especially right now when you're at home and you're like, well,
It'll kill you. It'll kill you. I'm telling you, COVID is like or the lockdown, whatever. It's you got to do something, I've always, not always, but for the past year or 2 years now, I've been working out. Please excuse me. Doing the Armor Up program, Don Rosso's program, which is just fantastic. And that keeps me in shape, but there's in shape. And I say to Dom sometimes, I got to do some Hollywood workouts, which are like the curl and the, curls and stuff like that. And the Hollywood thing is a little bit different than being functionally fit. I bet you're functionally fit, and I think I'm functionally fit, but for Hollywood, you got to get rid of the punch.
There's a thing I've noticed recently, and I don't watch a lot of TV and stuff, but I watch enough that I think Hollywood actors in general are getting a little bit too physique driven. They're not like, they're too muscular. Like you're in a period piece and you look like you're on this powerful, modern diet that gets you this, wonderful physique. But it's like, it's too modern. Like, where is the farmer muscle, where you can go out and work all day? Have you noticed this at all, where guys are just like overly fit for the role that they're in?
The guys have been talking about that for a few years. I mean, several years, when I talked about my first acting class and all that, my teacher was Morgan Shepherd. And he's an older British actor. He's been in like every version of Star Trek ever. He's since passed away. But he said his problem with Band of Brothers, because I was so smitten with Band of Brothers, is what made me want to be, an actor when they were going to do the Pacific. He said, he's like, when I was, during the war, people didn't look like that. These guys all look like football players, And,
right. Yes.
And and another fella, Frank, what the heck was his name? He's old Vietnam veteran, Marine. His last name escapes me, but he was trying to put together a Vietnam piece, and there was a bunch of before VME. I worked with this company called Gunmetal, which is like a military advisory company, and so we're all veterans, and he wanted to get this project going. He's like, yeah, but all you guys are too big, and he points right at me, and I was like smaller than I am now, and he's like, we all look like this guy, I was all skinny, and so it's funny, it's funny you say that, because especially for the period pieces, guys just weren't that big back then.
I mean, you see a guy reach his hand out and he's just striated and muscles are firing, and you're like, you're a bodybuilder, and God bless, like, you're in fantastic shape, but
sure.
Yeah, you're supposed to be, it's 155 pounds and just tough as nails because you were bucking hay all day, Right. You're not getting big rounded biceps from that. Like, you've got working muscles, strong as an ox, tough as hell, but it's it's noticeable,
Yeah, I think especially, like you said, in the pieces where they're supposed to be set in Vietnam or World War II or the Revolutionary War, the guy's like,
look at my abs. Not if it's a movie where you're taking your shirt off and stuff, and there's supposed to be some sex appeal, that's a different thing, know. But okay. So I was curious that.
It's good to hear. You hit on a good point. Yeah, that's a solid point. But suspension of disbelief and all that, right?
Yeah, it's fine, and I don't begrudge anybody for wanting to be healthy and look good and all that kind of stuff too.
Sure.
It's just when it takes away from your appearance, the credibility of it all. So COVID has slowed down production on everything, and even still, it's just kind of limping along. Not limping along, but it's not full speed again. How was that? I mean, everybody I know that's been in the business a long time hits a point in their career where things slow down, they change, and then they survive that and they get through, and But this is an unnatural pause for everybody.
Yeah, dude, it was a rough year. It was the first time in. I think it's happened twice in my career, and it's the first time in, I think, 17 years that I missed. I didn't qualify for medical insurance through SAG, through Screen Actors Guild, and that's rough, man. I mean, it's fine. I can go on my wife's insurance, so
Right.
I'm not without insurance, but it ain't cheap, you know.
Right.
So that was disappointing, and so many people I think are in the same boat as me. If you're not earning, you can't be, you know, you're not going to make your dues or you know, make your earnings so you can get insurance, and that's a shame.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also it's just, you know, your career is not growing, you know, like Hollywood is very demanding on your time and, you know, being top of mind. And here we all are unnaturally shrinking instead of growing. And that's got to be terrifying as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the things Dan had said to me, you know, that kind of inspired me to do Fathers and Sons or to do something, you know, and Fathers and Sons turned out to be it. She's like, just speaking generally, she was saying, look, if people aren't going to, like, if you're not going to write the novel or whatever you talk about, you know, like, if you're not going to do whatever the hell you say, someday I'm going to do this. If you're not doing it during COVID, you're never going to do it.
Yeah.
You know? So I thought, well, I always want to make a short film. I always want to, you know, I've always had some story ideas. Let's just do it. You know, we had to wait for things to open up enough where we could actually go into production without, you know, breaking the law or something like that.
Right.
But that was one of the impetuses for it, I guess, is just thinking that if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So, and that kind of broke the dam for me. Like, I saw all the possibilities. We were able to pull this off, you know, thankfully, to just a great team. And, but I always say that's the key though. You surround yourself with good and talented people. You know, you can't do this by yourself. Get a team going. Gail Ann Hurd came to speak. She's a, you know, very successful producer, Walking Dead and so many other things. She came to speak to VME years ago, and she said that people rise in groups. And she gave the example of like Adam Sandler, you know, Happy Madison. He surrounds himself with his friends, and they create stuff. And Judd Apatow, and you know, he's constantly working with the same group of people, and they're just creating things and, you know, getting it out there. And so after we did Fathers and Sons, where I just grabbed the most talented people I know, you know, I said, I would love to do another piece with Tim, you know, do something else with Tim. And I'm already talking to Vernon about, you know, let's team up. Let's start creating stuff, not just make this a one-off.
Yeah.
So, I think that's important, you know, and dude, this, it really can be a lonely business, you know? Forget the rejection and all these other things where you're constantly just getting told no for whatever reason. And, you know, you really cling to that occasional yes. It's, you can feel like you're all by yourself. You know, I'm fortunate. I've got an incredible wife who's always been my rock, you know, but I don't really, you know, I whether it's my own doing, it probably is my own doing. I just kind of keep everybody else at kind of arm's length, you know? So I'm glad to be kind of reaching out to other creative people and saying, hey, you know, let's do something together. So I think I'm, it's already bearing fruit, obviously. So I want to keep that momentum going.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. What other projects are you on, or that you can talk about right now? Anything else out there?
Well, I just, or not just, we're waiting for it to find a home right now. There's a great project called Phoenix. It was directed by Brian Lambert, stars Lorraine Price and Kathleen Kinmont. I'm in several episodes. I have a recurring role in it. And I partnered up with Garrett Wang from Star Trek Voyager. So that was cool. We were partners in it. Yeah. And it's like a thriller kind of. Love it. Spy kind of thing. And I play a government agent who you're not sure which side he's playing, you know, and it was a lot of fun. So that's all in the can, you know, they're editing and all that other stuff, and they're trying to find a home for that. It'll end up on one of the streaming services, I'm sure. So Phoenix, be on the lookout for that. I actually had the opportunity to shoot a film for the Asylum called Meteor Moon. And that was an experience. If you're unfamiliar, Asylum is the company that did like Sharknado, and they do a lot of disaster films.
And we've had them on the show before. David Michael Latt has been on the show, and those guys know what they're doing. It might seem like Sharknado's a joke, but they make money with these movies, and
they shoot them in 6 days.
Yeah,
they move very fast. It was like actor boot camp for me, which was awesome. Like now when a audition comes in and it's 12 pages long and they want it tomorrow, I'm like, 12 pages, that's nothing. The final day of Meteor Moon, we shot 29 and a quarter pages. Typically on a film, you shoot 5 pages. We shot 29 and a quarter pages in one day. So it was tricky, man. But like I said,
again, boss, they're already breaking down, getting the next thing.
No. It's 2 shot, 1 shot, 1 shot, moving on. 2 shot, 1 shot, 1 shot, moving on. So, it was like speed dating for actors.
Yeah. I mean, that's faster than soaps. Soaps those guys are like sprinters for sure, but they do it each week. But those guys, you have to be able to do specifically, like that's very specialized kind of acting that they do. And the same thing with the guys over there at Asylum. It's remarkable what they do.
It's crazy that the amount of content they put out in a year. It's just unbelievable. I mean, we shot it, and 2 months later, it was on VOD. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience for me though, because I got to feel what it was like to be the lead actor in a film, and number 1 on the call sheet. Woohoo. But to not be a guest on someone else's project. You know what I mean? I mean, it wasn't my project, but being a lead actor, there's certain responsibilities you have, So to feel that even for a brief time, the 6 days we shot the entire film, was a great experience. And it's funny because, the Asylum, God bless them, but they're not known for like making masterpieces. These are B movies and they're fun.
Yeah.
When it came in and I said to my wife, I said, Dan, do I want to do this? It's like, I'm coming off True Detective. I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. And she goes, wait a second. You're going to be the lead role. You're going to save the world. She's like, if you're not going to do this, why the hell are you doing this?
Yeah.
I said, you're right.
Awesome.
I got to do it. So it was fun. Yeah.
She is awesome. I love her. We got to come out and record a show with her, and it was so much fun. And I love the you that you two are. I mean, it's incredible to see all of this success, and it's easy to be really negative right now about so many things, politics and everything else. But here you guys are just kicking ass in the world, and getting. I mean, you have your challenges, of course, but it's just great to hear that you're in such a positive place and a creative spot. I love it, man. I can't wait to talk to you again about the next things that you're working on. It's just so fantastic to hear such positive things.
Well, I think if anything, COVID's brought us even closer. I mean, being at home together and stuff. Dan has been able to work from home, and I think that's the way it's going to be for the foreseeable future. So I don't know if her company's going to go back to working in a regular office. And it's great. I mean, I love having her home all the time. So yeah, man, it's been a bit of a blessing.
A bit of a blessing. Yeah. An evolution. And, I think for sure it sped companies along. They were always resistant. They wanted to have this floor plan because that's how they've always done things. But now that they're doing things in new ways, it's opening up doors and hopefully improving some lives, in terms of being able to work from home and handle things in a work-life balance that's a lot less thumb on the work side,
Yeah, I think I don't want to talk out of school, but I think from some of the stuff I pick up here and there, I think there are challenges as far as people expecting to be available or being expected to be available 24/7 as opposed to 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So I think those are some challenges that companies are going to have to work out. And but we'll get there, man. Like anything, you just 30-inch step, baby.
30-inch step. Yeah. 9 to the front, 6 to the rear. Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen,
Yeah,
I appreciate your time. It's so cool to hang out. We'll have to do it face to face when we can reasonably do so. And just
absolutely.
all the best to what you're doing, man. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. I'd like to ask your folks to go look at Fathers and Sons. You can find it on Vimeo. There's a great article on officialjackcarr.com. Jack wrote a great piece about it on his blog, and there's a link to view it there. Officialjackcarr.com under the blog section. And if you want to follow me, I do most of my stuff on Instagram, and I'm at That's Michael Broderick.
And I'll put all that stuff in the show notes. And if you're watching on the video side, it'll be in the YouTube notes too. So just click down below. I'm going to roll this video. Stand by.
Hey, thanks for watching the show. I really appreciate it. Right here, you can subscribe. Please do that. It makes the show grow. Hit that notification bell so you know which incredible guest is coming up next. Down below is the PayPal link. You can put a small subscription in. That is an enormous help. All that money goes right back into the show. And then right up over here are the next episodes you should listen to, curated by yours truly. Thank you so much